Okay, so I'm making gorditas today. But for the tortilla gordita part, you're gonna need, oh, this is a big chunk. Let me throw that away. I already have in here in this pot, not the pot, but the bowl, I have 2 cups of the masa harina, like the cornmeal. It's, there's different types of cornmeal. The one I use is this one right here. From Quakers. And actually I'm following their recipe. And they're asking for 2 cups of the masa harina, a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons, and I have it in a separate measuring cup right here. I have 2 tablespoons of shortening, 1 cup of hot water, or it says warm, and a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So that's what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. Mixed up. Make sure this is all mixed well. If there's any little lumps, take them out, because that's what you're going to bite into. Just run your fingers through it. Don't feel anything else. Okay, and be careful not to make the water too hot or you burn yourself. I went ahead and melted the shortening into the water here. Okay, and we're just gonna probably, oof, it's a little hot. Okay, and just keep on mixing it until it becomes a little ball. Kind of like if you're making regular tortillas, but this one's a lot softer. I followed other recipes for gorditas, and so far this is the one I like. So it's one of their recipes they have there. Might need to add just a bit more water, because I know it only asks for a cup, but I feel like it needs more. Just a tap more, maybe like a 1/4 cup more. Let me warm up some real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I'm warming up the water, yeah, because it's going to be a little too dry. Okay, I warmed up some water, and I'm just going to add tablespoons at a time, so that way it doesn't get too wet on me. So far there's a cup in here of water, and right now I added 2 tablespoons more. I still feel like I need another tablespoon. I don't want it too dry, but I don't want it too wet either, so I got to be careful how much I pour. But you can start telling by when you're squeezing in between your hands if you need to add more water. I'm going to add 2 more. I lost count of how many I put. I think I put like 5 already. But depending on the weather, how dry it is, depending how hot your home is, the humidity, all that has a factor. The altitude, everything has a factor on how things turn out on the food, the baking and stuff. I'm going to add a little bit more. Should be probably the last one. But everything has a factor, how food turns out, of where you live and all that. So you just got to test it out little by little. What might work for me in my area might not work for you. Okay, perfect. I could probably still, just gonna wet my hand. Oh, that was hot. I forgot it was hot water in there. It's a little stiff. Let me just sprinkle a little bit. And once you mix it all up and it's resting. Let it rest for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, go ahead and get the your griddle out and warm it up. I have an electrical griddle. Everything in my house is electrical. And let's see here. Don't want it to crack when you press down, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. And like I said, once you start running it in your fingers and stuff, you'll know the difference. And it's just a basic recipe to follow. But again, not everybody lives in the same area. So you gotta make sure that we adjust the water to it. And sometimes a whole cup is too much. Okay. Feels good. Smells good too. I love that smell. Let's see here. I'm grabbing it like a regular tortilla. It feels like Play-Doh. Okay. This is pliable enough. I'm going to test a little bit here on the presser. Put this back in here. Put a little tortilla presser. Get some wax paper. I'm just going to test this out because I got to let it rest. But I'm just trying to see if I need to add anything else to it. Any more water. Perfect. It's exactly what I need. Okay. Masa is really good. Actually, I'm going to keep this one the way it is. Let me go ahead and bring my skillet out. I'm going to warm it up and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have the skillet already warmed up. I'm going to start making a few of these and putting them aside. I have a wax paper here and I'm just going to lay them there. Let's just do a few just so you get the idea. And you want to make them about the same size. You don't want them too big. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill up my palm together and see if that's good enough. I think that's going to be a little too big. I don't know. Let me give it a try. And I'm not going to give it a double press because I don't want them super thin. Forgot my other wax paper. And you don't have to put that much pressure on there. See, this is a little too big for me, so I'm going to probably redo it again. I don't want it that big. Let's see how much this is now that I've cut it out. I do have a scale. I mean, you can weigh it if you want. Okay, so what I did to make them all the same, I'm using my tablespoons measuring spoon, and that way they're all the same. And I don't have to worry of one being bigger than the other. And it's going to fit in the pot because I ended up getting just a small pot warming up over there with this paper just a bit smaller. It is getting in my way. I just need something as big as the circle there. Hopefully I didn't cut it too small. That's good enough. Okay, and let me start scooping this. Here's one. Okay, and two. Okay, let's see if this one works out better. Doesn't get in the way too much. Perfect. Okay, let me bring the camera to where you can see the grill and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I have set at 400, which is the highest it could go. And what I want to do is just cook them for a little bit on each side. I'm going to do about 3 minutes on each side. Probably less because I'm still going to fry them. And these are not like your regular tortillas. They're not going to puff up here in the grill. Okay, meanwhile, I'm going to let those cook. I'm going to be making some more over here. And I'm using a tablespoon to get the same amount for each one. That way they're all uniformed. I would say cook them about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. I know the recommendation on the bag of harina, it says to cook them for 3 minutes on each side, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess 3 minutes on each side. I'm going to get the oil going. And I have the oil heating up over here. I'm going to make them out of, yesterday I made some pork burritos. And I did not use all the pork. So I'm going to go ahead and make this gorditas out of pork. I'm going to add some onion and some chile, salsa and all that stuff. And get that going as well. That's going to be my filling for the gordita. I'm not going to put beans. I'll probably do maybe some lettuce and tomato on some, not all. You can add cheese, you can add beans, you can add anything to a gordita. You don't want to put too much pressure. Let me check the tortillas. Got too busy making these that I didn't pay attention. Perfect. Okay, and that's all you want to do to it. Make sure they get toasted like that on one side. Flip it, do the same to the other side. And they got little brown spots. The package says to do it at 375. I guess I could follow the instructions. Not very good at following instructions when it comes to baking and stuff. Some stuff you just really have to, but others I don't. I mean, other stuff that I cook, I just wing it. But it's good to have a recipe to follow, so make sure they come out right every time. Okay. Okay, they're done. Let me take these off. I'll put them here in the wax paper to cool off a little bit. And put some more here. Okay, and let me bring it over to the oil. Okay, so I got the oil here. And I mix. Still not very hot. But let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it is. It just didn't seem like it was. And you could see it already puffing up. That's exactly what you want it to do. Okay. Go ahead and flip it over. On the other side. And you want to let them cool before you cut them. You don't want to cut them when they're hot. And they're already mostly cooked already, since we put them in the grill first. Okay, it's getting a pretty golden color. And I have a plate with paper towels already set there. And just let it drain out. You don't want to drop them because you don't want oil all over the place. Okay, already popped up. Got puffy. Just flip it around to the other side. And the reason I got a smaller pan is because I don't want to use so much oil. If you get a bigger, wider pan, you have to use more oil. This way, it's smaller and less oil that you're using. Okay, give it a flip. It only takes about 30 seconds on each side, a minute the most. Depends how dark you want them. Okay, that's it. Let me bring some others. You know, I've always toasted them before I actually put them here. But, give me a second, I'm going to turn these around. I'm going to try one raw. I've never tried one raw. See what happens. If the same thing happens or not. Maybe you get like a puffy taco. Oh yeah, look, it puffs up a lot. I wonder if they're as sturdy as the ones that you toast first. Okay, let's give that a flip. A little bit harder to flip because they're a little softer. And they're tearing apart. They're getting cooked. Yeah, they're too delicate. And it collects a little bit more of that oil. Yeah, I don't like it this way. I'm going to stick to the toasting them first. I'm still going to save it because you could still eat it. Let me go get some others so I can put in here. Okay. So the best thing to do is toast them first, then put them in the oil. That way they don't come apart, because that one that went straight in just fell apart. These are coming out good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause you. Once I start putting everything together, I'll bring you back. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be putting in my gordita. It's yesterday's leftover pork. I just added half an onion to it. And I'm just going to, mainly for color, just sprinkle a little bit of the chili powder to give you some flavor too. I want to add a little color to it. And then I'm debating whether to cook it with the pico de gallo or leave it on the side. think this is pretty good. It's giving it some color. Make sure you mix it real good. That way you don't get one bite that has that chili powder on there. And just cook it until the onion is translucent and it's soft. Okay, let me go ahead and finish cooking this off. Like I said, I'm just going to make them simple. I'm not going to add no beans into the gordita or anything. Just a simple gordita today. Okay, so here we are at the last part. Your gorditas are cold. Just get a serrated knife. And it's real simple to cut through it. Fill it up. So I'm not going to put no beans or nothing, just a carnita. And I bought this new cheese. It's a Hatch pepper Monterey Jack cheese. I already have on the plate some pico de gallo. I'm going to get the lettuce and tomato. And some avocado dip that I made yesterday as well. Some sour cream. Okay. And some rice. You could put beans in it or whatever you want to put in it. It's up to you. I didn't want any beans. Right. You gotta be careful because they come apart easy. A few more tomatoes in there. And that's it.